is going on? This is AlTone and welcome back to another absolutely fantastic video. And this video is actually going to serve two purposes. First, this is going to be my second iteration of videos on the upgrades to the DEERC 9201E. And second, this is also going to serve as my entry to Bargain Bashers RC's Speedrun Challenge. So thank you so much for putting that Speedrun Challenge on. Let's get to the car. After I show you the speedrun for today, I will come back and we'll break this car down and I'll show you just a few of the small little upgrades I've done so far and even talk about some of the things I'm going to be doing in the future. So let's check that out. So we are here now with the 9201E. All the upgrades I've done to it, I've actually glued the tires down, all of that. We got the GNSS connected. You can see that it's actually reading, and this guy at this point is a beast. And I wasn't even full throttle and the front wheels were coming off the ground. So let's go start, track, start, stop, read. We're at 0, and then track, start, and we are reading the car. And so let's go ahead and try this again. First run, we were not keeping the tires on the ground, and it does sound as if the gear might be slipping just a little bit. We'll go a little bit further down over here and see if we can get it a little bit better. Check again, make sure we don't have anything in the way, and let's go ahead and run it. Alrighty, she did have a she did pop a wheelie. Full throttle. If I get the full throttle, the front wheels come off the ground. We may have to add some weight. Come back around one more time. Nobody's there. Trying to ease on. Full throttle. Okay. She's good. If I hit full throttle, it comes, the front tires come off the ground. I can't keep them on the ground. And so let's go ahead and see what our max speed is on this guy today, at least for as much time as I could actually keep the wheels on the ground. So stop and read 43 miles an hour. So I got a feeling that if I am able to get this guy to where the front tires can stay down on the ground at full throttle, this is going to be one awesome car. We're going to try to do another pass real quick, still on the same battery I did a few minutes ago. Track and start. We are reading. And I don't know what these people are doing over here. Okay, they're there. We don't have any cars coming, and we're going to see if we can beat 43 really quickly. Trying to make this run, keeping those wheels on the ground. I'm doing my run in this direction mostly because I have vehicles on the other end, and I'm stopping well before I get to that car over there. Last reading it said was 11 point something miles an hour. Let's go ahead and try this one more time. I'm gonna stay down here this time so I can keep track of its steering, the direction it's steering in. So let's go ahead. Good range on this radio, by the way. I was able to get a full speed pass without the wheels popping up, which was interesting. I'm curious to see if this is actually going to beat that. Still having some problems on that end. The thing is keeping her straight. Now the gyro's in there and the gyro's functioning, but trying to keep it straight while I'm doing this pass and keeping the wheels on the ground. Powerful, and then slowing down. It's a good possibility that the battery is actually getting a little low at this point. I'm looking at the tires ballooning as it's passing, which is really cool. So we probably need to let this guy cool off, but before we do, let's see what we have. Stop. Are we better than 43? Read 45 miles an hour. That's what I'm talking about. That's our top speed for today. We got it ready to go again. We're getting ready to take that run out, but I wanted to make sure we cleared everything out. So 45 is our last speed. Track, start, stop, and read 0 miles an hour. Track and start, and we're going to go ahead and make sure that it is reading. It is reading. I don't like that little stutter in the gearing. We don't have any cars down there. We're going to be careful. We're going to take it down nice and slow, and be sure not to get on to the throttle too much, because we don't want to drain too much on the way down there. Now we're going to turn around, and I think that's a good spot. Straighten her up, make sure no cars are in the way, nobody's there, and then let's do this. First run, first pass. I was only able to get on full throttle for a couple of seconds. As I was doing the run, it was raising up the front tires, and I was trying to keep them on the ground because I didn't want to lose steering. If it starts to drift to the side, that's going to cause the car to roll. So that's what I was trying to do. Let's see if we can get another one. And that didn't work. So something came out. That was probably the GNSS. And before we do anything else, we're just going to check to see what kind of speed. Yeah, GNSS was ejected from the car. Before we do anything, check back, nobody's there. I don't want to move it, other than we're going to make sure the GNSS is still reading. This is the reason why I have this 3D printed. GNSS is still reading. And then let's go down, stop, and read 46 miles an hour. We got 46 out of it before the GNSS was ejected. So that's not bad, not bad at all. Of course, the GNSS was ejected from the car. I don't know if you want to count that or not, but I'm counting it for me. So I actually beat my PB with this car, 46 miles an hour. My fastest so far is 45 with any other vehicle. So 46, awesome. We're gonna do another run though. Track, start, stop, read 0. Track, start, and we're just going to run it again. I know we're not getting a good speed on it now, but we should hit above 40 anyway. Our battery's getting low. Battery's getting low. I got a little bit too close to that car down there. And let's do this. Didn't work. Yeah, battery's getting low. At least I got a nice run. That's one thing. I know I can hit myself with it. Okay, let's do a stop and read. Did we get it? We hit 46 again. Awesome. We hit 46. That tells me this car can do better than 46. This car can do better than 46. So with that, we're gonna call it. All right, now I'm absolutely blown away. And one of the things that you might not be aware of. So the 9201E, and I had to write it down to be sure. The 9201E is rated from DRC at 29 or 48 kilometers per hour, which is about 29.8 miles per hour. I was able to get about 25 or so miles per hour out of it, or 27 miles per hour on a 3S battery, and then changed did my upgrade, and before burning out the SC, I actually hit that 29. Now, after doing a brushless upgrade, even though it is ridiculously hard to keep these tires on the ground, I'm able to hit 46 miles an hour consistently, even doing short runs. So I did have a comment in the previous video. Someone is actually working on a 210E, which is essentially the exact same chassis. You should be able to use the same electronics in any one of these vehicles that has the same chassis in order to get some additional speed out of it, but he added a wheelie bar to it from Team Associated. And I want to know, I'm asking that question, which wheelie bar is it that you use? Because I've been trying to think about how I'm going to 3D print some type of wheelie bar to keep the wheels, the front wheels on the ground, so I can maintain that the gyro does no good if you have no steering. So I can maintain that as I'm driving it. And you do notice that it did nose dive into the ground a few times when the front end came down, which means the shocks are not that great. They're really not. They're not great shocks. They are oil-filled shocks. The stock shocks are oil-filled on this car, but they're not great. So now let's talk about some of the things that we did to the car really quickly, so that if you decide you want to pick one of these up or pick up a couple, and with family members, with your family members, you want to get into this vehicle yourself, build one out yourself, and actually get some of the speeds or even better speeds than what I'm getting out of this car, I want to share with you what it is that I've done to this car, as well as the controller, to get the speeds that I'm currently getting out of it. Like I said, we do need to do some work as far as getting everything together. Alrighty then, so here's the car from the top down and the radio. I'll pop the radio on because I am going to show a couple of settings that I have set in this radio for this particular car. There's a couple things you have to do, but let's go ahead and pull the body clips off. I'm using these nice little retainer clips here on the top of the car. And I'm also using these nice little stickers here to protect the top. So protect the holes, because as you can see, I rolled this car quite a bit to the point where it's even wearing on that tire based on some of the flips and whatnot that you've seen it do, as well as scraping up the nose just a little bit. And then GNSS is attached on the inside using this, which I 3D printed. I designed and 3D printed that in Onshape. And it just sits in there, and it's Velcroed in this case, so I can take it out of the case if I need to, but this is what's been protecting my GNSS. You notice it has some scratches on there. After those scratches, I went ahead and made this little design, and it even has holes in the side so you can get to the USB-C for charging it. So that works out really, really well. So the car itself, I do have a couple of body straps, battery straps, that I've had these for a while. No specific name brand. I've just had them. And then you do have holes in the side here that you can put your straps through and strap it to that center brace. We do have our Surpass Hobby 45 amp ESC switches mounted here on the front. And I actually had to put some spacers in here because this wouldn't fit in that little space there, in order to give it some room away from the motor. And then if we flip this guy around, this is a Rocket RC ES motor, and it is a 3800 kV. And the size of this motor is the exact same size motor, because what this was actually purchased for was for my DEERC H16E. I was going to use it for the upgrade for that car, and I ended up not using it. That's what this motor's for. And this one is a 3800 kV motor. And again, Surpass Hobby 45 amp ESC. Some of the other things I've done is I actually glued the tires. It looked like this run has actually it actually broke loose, the glue. But the tires glued down from the inside and the outside. So the outside of the inside of the tire is still, the glue is still holding, but the outside is not. And I can tell that the inside is still holding. And I actually vented the tires just a little bit, which is not a big deal. And then, of course, we do have our radio link R7FG, and I do have the gyro turned on. However, if the tires aren't on the ground, it's not going to do anything. And then that's pretty much it. That's basically all I've done to this car. Taking out the previous motor and putting it in is pretty easy. All you have to do is heat up the pinion gear. If you heat that pinion gear up, you can take the pinion gear off pretty easily. Just be careful. And then press fit it onto, and it does have the same size shaft. If you order your motor, make sure it's the same size shaft as the previous motor. You can just take that off and slide the other one back on there. There is not a grub screw. It's just press fit it on there. The other thing about this particular one is when you take out the ESC, you actually have to change your steering servo, because that ESC has a 4 to 5 wire steering servo on it, and that way it can work with your new updated receiver. Whether you get the radio link receiver or any other receiver, if you take that receiver out to make this a brushless system, you put another receiver in here, you're going to have to change that servo. It took a little bit of research, but I was able to find the servo that fits perfectly. And this is the same servo that's in the DRC 210. So what you do to find the servo is look at the DRC 210 and the 200E and the 210E are actually using a 3-wired servo because they have a brushless system in there. I'm pretty sure that this brushless system is actually going to be an upgrade for the brushless system that's in that car as well, because it's basically built on the same chassis. This front bumper is actually a 210 or 200E front bumper because the original front bumper broke. And then everything else is the same on the car. That's basically it. What I've done on the radio is, one of the things you're going to want to do is make sure you limit your steering. So if you look, my steering is limited. So my steering stops at 63 and at the low end 74. So I actually put in a steering limit, and you do notice that the steering trim is actually saying -7 right now. Throttle is the same. Throttle 97 to 98, -98, and that's basically it. Right now I have the gyro set at -25, which is fine. All the way down to 0 or 100, and then it's turned up to 25 right now. That's where I currently have it, and that's the way I have mine set. You might want to dial down or up the gyro if your front tires are actually making good contact. You may want to dial up or down the gyro. If you have too much, it'll cause it to shake. If you have too little, it just won't perform the way you need it to. Channel 4 and channel 6, I really don't have them connected to anything at this point. So that is essentially everything I have in the car, and that has, been able to get this guy to 46 miles an hour with the idea that I can't truly get on at full throttle for more than a second, because at full throttle it's got so much torque on the wheels that it does bring the front end off the ground, and I'll possibly lose control to the point where it will flip the car over backwards. And that's why I say a wheelie bar on the back, keeping the front tires down on the ground. First of all, just keeping the tires on the ground is going to give me more speed. I wouldn't be surprised if I can get this guy to hit 50. I might need a little bit more space. And then the second part of that is it's going to allow me to track straighter while I'm doing the run. So I'm looking forward to figuring out a few things. Maybe adding a little bit of weight, but I do have upgraded tires for this guy because these actually balloon pretty a great amount. They balloon a great amount, and even when I'm glued down, I do have another set of tires I'm going to be putting on here. On top of that, it's time to do a little bit of upgrade to the suspension, and if I can find out a cost-effective way to add a wheelie bar to this car, I will do so. Whether that be I go to a whether I have to design something myself, or I go to or go ahead and order something. I'll be looking at that. So with that, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to share with you or show you even a greater top speed on this. But in case you were wondering, with this car's upgrades, I've actually been able to beat my my personal best with an RC car of 45 miles an hour. We hit 46 with this. My 45 was with the DEERC H16E that I have sitting over there that needs some work. I still need to go back in and do some work to it to fix a couple of things, but that's it. The other thing that I am curious about, and maybe you can answer that for me, maybe you know, is if there's a pinion gear upgrade for this vehicle. If you know that, drop that down in the comment section. I'd absolutely love to know it. I really appreciate you stopping by. There is some work being done on the Flerken. I plan on having that up in the air again before the end of this year. So thanks again for stopping by, and I look forward to seeing you in a future video. Take care.